What's good, y'all? It's your boy Spider 3.0, keeping the action going with yet another Toybiz figure review. Today we are having a look at the Toybiz Spider Sense Spider-Man. And before we get into the review, I want to give a big shout out to Eric on eBay for hooking me up with this figure. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Eric. I know this review is overdue, but nevertheless, we are getting to it now. But yeah, very excited to get into this guy. I'm gonna do a quick unboxing. Got a very nice little box here. No original packaging with this one, but got a nice small box, easy to open up. I already did remove a lot of the tape, so it should be a fairly easy process. So we can get right into it. And yeah, this is another one of those Toybiz Spidey figures that stuck out to me, and I just really like the design. Yeah, there's quite a few, I guess, details or design details that I want to point certain things out. So yeah, we'll get into all of that, but yeah, without further ado, I'm just gonna unbox this and then we'll get into the actual details of the figure. So the box is pretty much opened already. A lot of packing peanuts in here. All those fall to the floor. All right, and he is nicely packaged in a Ziploc baggie. Pull him out. Alrighty then. All right, and I like the look of this guy right off the bat. Very nice. So I'm just playing with his joints a little bit here. Okay. Joints don't seem to be too loose. Well, the waist is a little loose, I'm not gonna lie. But maybe I can fix that. Add a little friction to that later. But other than that, yeah, pretty good look. So here we go. Here is the Toybiz Spider Sense Spider-Man. Now, one of the first things I want to point out about this guy is that I believe there was multiple releases of him. I'm not sure, but the release that I think most people are used to seeing is like where he's in a darker color scheme. So the red and the blue on him is quite a bit darker. I think there's more of a wash going on in him. The blue is definitely like a darker blue, like almost black. Or at least there's like a lot of heavy shading in it, and to the point where it looks like it's like almost black. And then like same thing with the red, and the eyes in particular are on the normal, or at least I think the original release, they're kind of like translucent and yellow, because he has a gimmick, and I'll explain more about the gimmick in the description. But basically he has like a gimmick in this little base thing that he came with that would cause his eyes to kind of light up to kind of signify his spider sense going off. So yeah, and then I think there might have been a separate release for this guy, because as far as I can tell, it uses the exact same mold as that one I just mentioned. And then, but on this one, the eyes are white. I'm pretty sure I saw on Google before there was like an image where it was this guy, or like it was that Spider Sense Spider-Man, like this mold, and he actually had the white eyes. And so I was thinking maybe Toybiz did like a separate release, unless or this might be like one of the Sinister Six Spider-Mans. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure which one this is, but I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure this is the Spider Sense Spider-Man, or at least it's using the same mold as that figure. But one of the most notable things on this figure is the fact that the eyes are white. I know that a lot of people have actually gone ahead themselves and painted the eyes white on that original release that had like the light up gimmick with the kind of translucent yellow eyes. But yeah, so I like the look of this one. I do like the look of the original figure as well, and I actually do want to get a copy of that original one, because the design on that original figure with the gimmick, it actually reminds me a lot of the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit, the TASM 1 suit that Andrew Garfield wore in the first movie. It reminds me a lot of that, so I do want to actually pick up that figure in due time. But I am really enjoying the look of this one right here with a little more classic red and blue, and obviously the white eyes. So yeah, so here's like a little closer look at him. Look at some of those details. Make sure we got good lighting on him. Adjust the lighting just a little bit in here. Okay, there we go. And yeah, you can see even in the back, like he's got 2 holes in the spider symbol on his back, and that was for the gimmick. I think there was something that like, yeah, plugged in to his back through these 2 holes, and then you would like press something and it would like make his eyes light up. So I'm not sure if the seller went ahead and painted the eyes white himself or not. I didn't ask him, but it's definitely a possibility that he just, you know, went ahead and actually painted the eyes white. Because yeah, these holes in his back kind of signified to me that, you know, he had the gimmick, and so you know, this could definitely be like a repaint. There's a good chance that maybe his eyes were actually translucent before, and then the seller went ahead and just painted them white. And I want to give a shout out to Automatica's review. I really liked her review. She has a great review on YouTube. Link will be in the description. I really enjoyed her review of the Spider Sense Spider-Man, because at the end of her review, she actually did, she reviewed it, you know, how it originally came in the package, like with the whole gimmick and everything, and she was talking about the look of it. But I think she wanted the eyes to be white in the end, so at the end of the video, she actually did kind of like, she edited the video so that she could, you know, paint the eyes white and then come back and show the figure with the white eyes. And I thought that was pretty cool, so that you could see, like, you know, a more, I guess, classic look, or like what, at least what we're used to seeing on Spider-Man, which is like the white lenses typically. But yeah, I really enjoyed her review, so shout outs to her. Again, link for her review will be in the description. But yeah, I just really like the look of this guy, the kind of lanky body type, very reminiscent to like the McFarlane style Spider-Man. Very similar to that body type, a little bit different, definitely not the exact same mold, but very similar as far as like shape and, you know, build. Definitely reminds me a lot of that McFarlane style that we got on that figure. So yeah, just a really cool looking figure. And again, I like the colors of the red and blue, very nicely, you know, painted and applied. Yeah, not a whole lot of wash. There's definitely like some wash present in the figure, but not like a whole lot. So it's kind of got a little bit more of a clean look, at least on this copy. So if we bring it in a little bit closer here, put some light on him, and yeah, you can see like he's definitely got not too heavy of a wash. You know, the red and blue kind of stands out, pretty vibrant, but we definitely do have a little bit of a wash present in things like the lower torso here. You can see like in the darker spots. Yeah, you can definitely see a little bit of that wash present, even in the shoulders. On the side here, you get some more of that black paint for, you know, the wash to kind of bring out some of the details. Same thing like in his triceps to kind of bring out those, you know, muscle definitions and fibers. And going down into like his elbow and forearm there, that looks really good. Not too much going on as far as like his back, not a lot of wash or anything, but the sculpt is definitely there. It's sculpted well enough to where you can see, you know, all the back muscles and everything, and it still looks very good. And then coming around to his other arm, you got some similar wash details going into, again, the triceps and the lower arm. Yeah, and then even some in the mask as well. You can see from the side view and the profile of his mask, you can actually see some of that black paint kind of, you know, settled here on the side of his mask. And let's see, turning to the other side, yeah, you get some more of that kind of closer to his eyelids. You get quite a bit of black paint there on the side. So yeah, but overall the details look really nice. Going down to like the boots, you definitely get some wash in there into the red. But yeah, overall looks pretty nice. And even the bottom of the shoes, definitely looks like there was a wash applied to the bottom of his soles to kind of give, you know, that dirty look as he's been running around the city and web swinging and taking down bad guys. So very cool. Really like the look of him. So real quick, we'll go ahead and get him on the rotating display base so we can get a full 360. And then we'll take a look at articulation, or as I like to call it, play and display. So put him up here. Make sure he can stand and balance well. Okay, there we go. And rotation will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, there you go. So there is Spidey rotating on the display base. And yeah, just a really nice looking figure, man. I like it. I like the colors of red and blue. I think that's why I went for it when I saw the eBay pictures. It stood out to me. There was some really good lighting on it in the pictures that were taken, and I really liked the colors of the red and blue. Definitely kind of like a classic comic book style. So yeah, I just really liked it. And of course also, you know, being that it had the white eyes, which were kind of different from the original release, I definitely wanted to kind of go for it. So I decided to go ahead and do that. And I'm pretty happy with the purchase so far. So there's our 360 look at him. And now we will go ahead and get into play and display. So we'll stop him right there. Taking him off. Move the display stand aside. All right, so let's get into some articulation. All right, so with the head, actually seems like there isn't really any motion unless I'm tripping, unless this joint is just really stiff. But it kind of feels like there's no up and down movement. I can't even tell if there's a hinge in his head. To be honest, I don't think there is. As I'm looking at the neck, I don't see any hinge connecting from the head or like the neck to the, you know, the chin or anything. I don't see any hinge. It just seems like a full, you know, sculpt of plastic. So maybe he's not able to lift his head. Maybe that was part of the gimmick or something. It seems like he can't really move his head up or down, but let's see, side to side. You can definitely do that. Seems like, yeah, we get 360 rotation. So it's probably on a ball, but just not a hinge. So we don't get any up or down movement, it seems. See, right and left. Not really any real tilting or leaning, but you know, that's okay. I guess, again, this being a kind of more gimmicky figure, I'm sure that's something that they, you know, purposely decided to not, you know, focus on, you know, great head articulation. I'm guessing their main thing was to have, you know, again, that the eyes light up with the gimmick and everything. So kind of to be expected. For the arms, we can raise up super high. That's crazy. Like about the same as the Sinister Six Green Goblin, like literally sky high. That is some really good range. Probably the best range I've seen on a Spidey figure in a long time. Maybe even a little better than the McFarlane. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, sky high. We got the ball in a hinge joint for the shoulder. Comes back down to his sides, which is really nice. Gives him a nice natural look. All right, we have a bicep swivel, which is really nice. So we get a nice clean bicep swivel cut in there. We've got double joints at the elbow, which allow him to bend all the way back so he can basically touch his shoulder and even, like, you know, the top of his upper back. Extends back out, of course. Let's see, we got some rotation here in the forearm. This looks pretty good. 360 full rotation at the forearm. And the cut isn't too bad. Not quite seamless, but not too ugly either. Not very gappy or anything, so that's good. We've got a hinge for the hands, so the hand's able to bend in towards his body and away like that. All right. And it's, you know, it's a single piece with the forearm, so you know it's attached to the forearm, so it's not going to rotate on its own, but as you rotate the forearm, obviously the hand will go with it. All right, back down to the side. Let's see, we get full 360 rotation all the way around. He can windmill his arms 360 degrees, which is nice. All right, for the torso, looks like we have is that an ab crunch? It looks like the cut for an ab crunch, but let me see if we can actually crunch. Okay, there we go. Joint was just super stiff. It actually kind of clicked as I bent him forward just now, but he's able to get pretty decent bend forward with that ab crunch. So we do have a cut for the ab crunch joint in there and the torso, so he's able to bend forward that much, which is actually pretty good. And then let's see, going backwards goes about that far, which is decent. He definitely gets a little more range going forward, but going back is decent. And then even from the front, if you look, the sculpt is actually pretty well preserved. You know, it's kind of a smooth transition from the abs going up into like the upper torso, so we don't get like any ugly gapping or anything from the side, which looks really nice. Sometimes Hasbro, you know, tends to give us a big gap in between like here and the upper torso when you start, you know, crunching the figure forward and back, but or at least backwards. But this one was very nicely sculpted, so shout outs to Toybiz on that. Very good design choice there. I like it a whole bunch. Nice smooth transitions, almost seamless. And then at the waist, yeah, he does have a waist swivel for sure. And one of the first things I noticed when I got him out the packaging was the waist swivel was pretty loose. It's not so loose to where he's just gonna like spin around 24/7, but it's definitely something to note that he is kind of loose at the waist. I don't know if that's just a normal thing with this guy, like when you first get him out the package, maybe that was a QC issue, or maybe it just happened over time, you know, from the seller having it, maybe it just started to wear out or whatever, get a little loose. But again, not bad at all. Definitely, you know, he's able to stay in place, which is good. So, you know, that's the main thing I would be concerned about. And he doesn't feel like a loose mess or anything. So, you know, that's always good. So he does have that waist twist in there. He can kick. He can get a 90-degree high kick going forward, which is really nice. Can push it maybe a little higher. Yeah, he gets about a good solid 90 degrees going forward. All right, kicking backwards. He's only going to go about that far before it hits the sculpt. So about the same range as like a Hasbro Spidey figure going backwards. Runs into the sculpt there. Let's see, out to the side for some splits action. Let's see. Yep, pretty decent splits. Let's see, maybe not a perfectly straight line, but pretty close. Pretty close. I think the thighs just, or like maybe the part with the diaper just gets like a little bit thick up there, so like you can't maybe quite get it to like a full straight out line, but it still looks really good as you push it out to the side. I mean, that's basically a full split, so I will definitely take it. And the it seems like, yeah, we're on that hinge again, but you can see the ball. This isn't quite the same joint as the one that was on the McFarlane or that dual web swinging Spider-Man with like the big balls for the hips. This one is definitely, it's got like a full sculpt for the thighs, and then, you know, you have like the hinge inside, so aesthetically that probably looks a lot better and might be more appealing to certain people. But again, I don't mind the bigger balls that were on the McFarlane and the dual web swinging Spidey, you know, because functionality, they work really well, and I think they blend in enough with the sculpt to where they're not like a huge eyesore, at least for me. But yeah, just something to note out, that there is a difference kind of in between like the design between this figure and those two. And yeah, and I like that the hips don't stick out awkwardly from the sides. You know, they kind of like pinch in, so they, you know, Anthony's Customs mentions this a lot, and this is something that helps figures look aesthetically a lot better, is when they design it to where the hips kind of like pinch in at the sides, and they kind of, you know, to give it like a more superhero type of heroic proportion and look to it. Whereas like sometimes when Hasbro does some like Marvel Legends figures and things, they tend to kind of like give them either big thigh gaps or have the hips sticking out to the side too much. So yeah, I like that Toybiz kind of kept these in line with the rest of the body, and, you know, the top of the hips kind of pinch in, and then you get all that good, you know, muscle definition in like the thighs and stuff. It looks a lot better for like a heroic type of figure. And, you know, Spidey's got that nice lean athletic build, so there you go. Let's see, it seems like we have a cut for a thigh swivel, which, yep, is indeed present, and is actually, it's not I mean, it's pretty seamless. I mean, you can definitely see the line in there, but it lines up so well with, you know, the rest of the leg that you hardly notice it when you're looking at it. So not too bad. I like that a lot. And he gets a lot of good rotation for the thigh swivel in there. Let's see, you've got double jointed knees that allow him to bend all the way up to the lower back, which is really good, just above his butt, which is nice. Good range there, coming back down. Let's see, any boot swivel. Doesn't seem like there's any boot swivel, even though it kind of looks like there's a cut. I guess that's just like the separation line for the molding. I guess these were separate pieces and they got, you know, kind of casted together or glued together in the end, but doesn't seem to be any actual boot swivel from that line there where his boot starts, so something to note. And then we have the feet, which can hinge down all the way, and he does have some pretty flat feet, kind of like the dual web swinging Spidey, but I like that these feet are a little bit bigger, kind of closer to like the McFarlane size feet. It can kick up that much, and we do get a bit of an ugly gap there, you know, from the back, like where the ankle kind of disjoints, or, you know, there's some separation between the ankle and the rest of the foot when you hinge it all the way up. But again, not too bad, and this is an older figure, so kind of to be expected. No, let's see. Well, we get like a slight, very slight ankle rocker or pivot to each side, just a little bit in there. And then we do have toe articulation, so he's able to hinge the toes up that far, and then pretty much back down. Oh, let's see, can it go down? Oh yeah, if I keep pushing it, yeah. So he does kind of have like that funny, you know, foot or toes pointing down kind of thing that he can do, similar to the dual web swinging Spidey. So he gets that really awkward, almost 90 degrees of his toes pointing down. But yeah, you can do that if you want. And then as far as rotation of the actual foot by itself, we don't get any real individual foot rotation side to side. It is connected through this hinge to the rest of the leg. So yeah, it's not really gonna rotate on its own. So that's just something to note. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it as far as articulation goes, play and display. I think we covered all the points. Let's see. Yeah, that seems about it. No individual finger articulation on this guy like the McFarlane, but you know, I like the positions that they have his hands in. I think they look fine. You know, on his left side, he's got his hands down with kind of like an open, like almost like high five hand, like, you know, all of his fingers are splayed out like that. And then on his right hand, he's got more of like almost like a trigger finger hand, or like his hands are beginning to curl in. You can kind of see like almost like he's about to make like a trigger finger or something like that. So yeah, not too bad. You know, I don't think like every single Spider-Man figure has to have a web flipping hand. I mean, it's always nice, obviously, especially with like the more modern day figures, but you know, being that this is like an older figure, I definitely don't blame them for not, you know, giving him a flip hand on every single figure, especially since, you know, you weren't able to swap out hands, you know, back then. So obviously you probably wouldn't want every single Spidey figure to always have like that flipping position, you know. Then again, maybe you would, I don't know, maybe that's something that you would enjoy. But I like the fact that they kind of, you know, gave them some variety as far as the positioning of their hands. You know, back in the day, kind of gives them, again, some variance and kind of mixing it up. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for articulation. So I think that's a pretty solid batch. Let's bring him in closer for a better look at the details of his suit. I really like the spider symbol that's on his chest. Very, very classic. Kind of similar, I would say, to the Ultimate style, or like kind of like Mark Bagley, I would say, logo. Pretty similar, I would say. Probably the most, I would think, to Mark Bagley. And you know, people around that era of, you know, making comics that drew Spidey, I would say this logo is definitely reminiscent of that time, the Mark Bagley era for sure. I like the wash, how it seeps into all the web lines, and obviously they're sculpted, so I like that they kind of recess, and then the paint filled them in pretty nicely. You can see it. It's not overwhelming, but you can definitely see the sculpt of the web lines, which looks really good. And there's like a good amount of wash even going into like this upper part where his, you know, collarbone is and the traps. I like that a whole bunch. And yeah, again, I like that the wash isn't too heavy in his chest so that the red stands out. And the spider has like pretty thin legs, so you definitely wouldn't want to, you know, make the web lines, you know, too thick, and then you would start to kind of like lose the vision of the legs of the spider. So it's kind of nice that they left this area, you know, mostly untouched as far as the wash goes, so that you can, you know, see the entire spider on his chest. So that looks really, really good. All right, here's a look at the side of him. I think those details look pretty good as well. Definitely seems like maybe there was more paint application between like his arms and his legs. The arms and like I would say like his sides definitely seem darker. Like I think the blue paint itself, I want to say is excuse me, the blue paint I think is the exact same in between like his lower half and his upper half, but I think they, you know, applied a little more paint in the upper regions of his body to kind of make the blue a little more shaded, have a more shaded look. So yeah, I think there's definitely more black paint applied up here in his arms and in his sides to kind of bring out like his muscles, like the obliques and the lats on the side. I think that was a good choice, you know. And then the legs themselves don't have too heavy of a wash. You see most of the wash for the legs, you know, in the front, like where the thigh muscles are and the quads and the glutes. Like even in the back and the glutes, you see a little bit of that black paint present, but not too much. It's not overwhelming, which is nice. So we can still get a nice vibrant blue. But yeah, really, really cool. And then here's a look at the back of him. Again, not too much wash going on in the back, which is good. The spider symbol actually looks really, really good on his back. Like you can see the full sculpt. The legs don't get, you know, too lost in the blue. It's pretty well, you know, sculpted and painted. It's not raised from his back, but it's sculpted well into the, you know, recesses of like his muscles and everything. You can see all that great definition in the back, you know, into the spider. I think that's always really great to see, like, you know, those muscles on his back. You don't want Spider-Man to have like a completely flat, you know, back, like a paper flat back, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like it's nice to see that we actually get those muscles sculpted in, and then, you know, it looks a lot more realistic, and then you got the spider painted in appropriately into like where the muscles meet. And yeah, it just looks really good, man. Really, really nice. He's like, you know, he's jacked. He's very well sculpted and defined in the back, and then even in the upper back, you can see like top of his back right here is almost pinching in because he's got all that muscle there. But that looks really good. Some more black wash going into here, and yeah, yeah, just some more black wash applied down here into the back of the boots. Straighten this arm out so you can see all the black wash from the back into his arms. Yeah, I think that looks really, really nice. Holding him by his head right now awkwardly like he's hanging, but just so you guys can get a full look at the body from the back, and then spin him back around. So yeah, just a really, really nice figure overall, man. I like this figure a lot. I like the look of it. I think he's gonna make a great addition to the Spidey collection. I'm really trying to get, you know, all of my favorite Toybiz Spider-Man figures that I never got as a kid. So I'm really trying to build the Toybiz collection. So yeah, that's one of the main goals as far as collecting goes. But yeah, so really, really nice figure. You know, as far as I can tell, yeah, he didn't come with any accessories or anything, so I definitely don't have like the base or anything that was you know, to make him light up. I got him loose, and that's fine with me. I didn't really care for the base, you know, that much at the time. I just really wanted to get this guy in hand, and I gotta say I'm very pleased overall with the figure. So you guys let me know what you think about him in the comments down below. I'd very much appreciate it. And I want to say thank you to everybody that has been commenting lately on the videos, leaving your thoughts. I really do appreciate it, man. I like reading those things and seeing what you guys think about these figures. because you know, I know a lot of people that, you know, might be around my age, they probably remember things like this when they were a kid, maybe going to Toys R Us or wherever it may have been, where they saw, you know, Spidey figures with this style, you know, that classic old school Toybiz style, and I'm sure they probably miss it just like I do. That's not to say that, you know, all the modern day Spidey figures from Hasbro are like terrible, but it's just something about these, man. These had like a very classic, you know, style and just charm to them that I think Hasbro just doesn't have in a lot of their, you know, modern day Spidey figures. So, you know, shout outs to Toybiz as always for killing it with these guys. But yeah, without further ado, we are going to get into some size comparisons, because we've got a lot of figures to put this guy up against. All right, so let me scoot him back here, make sure he's standing straight, make sure his body is lined up. I think his feet were a little awkwardly placed for a minute there. But yeah, let's see. Okay, there we go. So there is our Spider Sense Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure this is a Spider Sense. If I'm wrong about the name, then I'll definitely update it in the title of this video. And you know, I'll mention my mistake in the description if he turns out to not actually be the Spider Sense Spider-Man. All I know is that this figure uses, like, as far as I can tell, it uses the exact same mold as the original release of the Spider Sense Spidey. So that's why I'm calling him that. But yeah, so either way, you know, that's what I'm gonna be calling this guy, you know, from here on out, unless I figure out that he was something else. But anyways, let's get him with some classic other Toybiz Spidey figures. So first up, we have the Alex Ross dual web swinging Spidey that we just reviewed, and then we'll get him with who's next? Let's get him with the Amazing Fantasy 15 Spidey from Hasbro on his other side there. And I think these three stack up pretty well. It seems like, as far as height goes, I'm looking at him from a side view. I want to say the Amazing Fantasy is probably the tallest out of the three of these guys. Seems to have just like a slight bit of height over each of these Spider-Mans, but not bad, you know. Let me actually turn this Spider-Man forward so we can get a better look, because I always kind of have him standing like at a side stance. But yeah, there we go. So yeah, I think he's just maybe slightly taller than the two of them, but other than that, they're like around the same height. So I think these look pretty good. Very, very classic early on Spider-Man styles here, so I like that a lot. And we got the Steve Ditko look, Alex Ross, and then this guy might be like a mix of different artists. Hard to say, hard to pinpoint what artist this might be based on. And I kind of feel like Toybiz kind of like mixed their Spidey figures. Like I feel like they took things from different artists and just kind of like meshed them together with certain, you know, Spider-Man figures. So again, like this logo might be, you know, Mark Bagley style, but the actual like overall, you know, Spidey build and everything, and even like the shape of the lenses and whatnot, could be like a completely different artist. So, you know, just something to throw out there. But yeah, let's move these two aside. Next, we'll get him with the two batches of the McFarlane Spider-Man. So we've got batch one on this side, right, with the kind of heavier wash, a little bit darker colors. And then we've got the batch two Spider-Man that came in the Abomination 2-pack, McFarlane Spider-Man. So there we have both versions of the McFarlane Spider-Man from Toybiz, and yeah, they stack up pretty well. The McFarlane, I would say, is pretty much the same height, exact same height as the Spider Sense, so there you go. I think all three look very, very good, definitely. So there you have it. Let's move these aside. Next up, we got the Spectacular Spider-Man from Hasbro, the Spider Charged Spectacular Spider-Man, 2008 release, I believe, or 2009. And then we have the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man from the DX set by Mafex. And there you go. And Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is definitely the tallest out of the three, but again, not too bad, not too bad. Cool, cool, cool. Nice little matchup there. So move those aside. We'll get the Hasbro, was this the wall crawling web Spider-Man or something like that? Yeah. I try not to mix this up with the name of that Toybiz figure, which I think is like the wall climbing Spider-Man, which is technically like the McFarlane Spider-Man, but it was marketed as like the wall climbing or something, superposable wall climbing. So this is the wall crawling web Spider-Man, I believe, by Hasbro. I believe it's like a 2008 release. And on this other side, we'll do Black Cat from the Retro Card series from Hasbro. And there you go. Wow, Black Cat is like almost taller than this Spider Sense Spider-Man. Like, if anything, they're neck and neck. She might even be just slightly taller from the top of the hair, so that's something to note. And this guy is definitely a little bit shorter. He's got like a little bit more of like a hunchback type of look to him. So he's definitely shorter than the two of them. So yeah, there you go. Moving them aside. Next up we have, let's see, we'll get one more Toybiz up in here. We've got the Sinister Six, box set Green Goblin. I believe there were 7 figures in that pack, so we've got that Green Goblin, and then on his other side, we'll put him with the black suit Spider-Man from the Red Hulk Build-A-Figure wave by Hasbro. And yeah, I would say this Green Goblin is just a little bit taller than the Spider-Man. And again, he's molded in a way to where it always looks like he's kind of like looking up. Even the way they painted the eyes, it kind of looks like he's always looking up. So, that might be a little slight discrepancy there. And then this Spider-Man, this black suit one, I would say is just slightly taller than this one right here. Maybe like a ½ inch or so, or maybe even like a ¼ inch maybe. But yeah, not too bad. So I think those work out well. Moving them aside, we'll get into some smaller figures. We've got the SH Figuarts Go Rider. This is Kawagariger, I believe. Yeah, Kawagariger. Navy blue on this side. His knees are kind of crouched, but just to kind of balance that out, here is the Red Ranger, Red Hurricane on his other side, who's standing completely straight pretty much. So if I was to unbend his knees, again, he'd be about the same height, exact same height as this one, so that should give you a pretty good sense of their heights. But yeah, obviously they are a little bit smaller than this Spider Sense Spidey, about 5.5 inch scale for each of them, so just a little bit smaller, but not too bad. So there is those two. Moving on, we've got the DC Universe All-Stars Classic New 52 style Batman figure. Gosh, this guy's name is such a mouthful. But yeah, here is that Batman, and then on his other side we have the Mattel Movie Masters Man of Steel Superman. And this is the release that came with the Kryptonian command key. Alright. And you can see each of them a little bit bigger than Spidey, definitely, especially, build obviously, but even in height as well, they're a little bit bigger than this Spider-Man, so there you have that. Alright, taking a look at some slightly bigger figures, we've got the Legacy Collection White Ranger from Dino Thunder on this side, and then let's see, we'll get him with a Lightning Collection figure, which is slightly smaller in scale compared to the Legacy. We have the Red Dino Thunder Ranger on his other side. And I would say the Red Ranger is basically the same height as the Spider Sense Spidey, maybe just slightly shorter. In the camera it probably looks like he's bigger, but I would say in person he's a little bit shorter maybe. Legacy Collection, obviously bigger, about 6.5 inch scale. So a little bit taller than each of them, but not by too much. So there you have that. Let's move them aside. Finishing it up, we have the Assassin's Creed figure from NECA, Mr. Ezio Auditore from the Brotherhood game, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, a Ubisoft original. And then we have the Netflix series Luke Cage by Hasbro on his other side. And Luke Cage is a pretty big dude, definitely got some height over Spidey there. Same thing with Ezio. I would say they're actually about the same height, him and Luke Cage. They're very close. So let's move those two aside. Let's get a figure that we haven't seen in a minute. We've got the Enforcer by Jazzwares. Jazzwares Enforcer figure. I really like the design of this guy, and I haven't shown him off nearly enough in my reviews, so expect to see a lot more of him. And let's see, let's get him with a Mafex Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse. That's the first movie suit design, so there you go. Looking pretty good. Miles is definitely shorter than each of them. Much smaller guy. And the Enforcer, pretty close in height. I think he's just a hair shorter than this Spider-Man. So there you go. All right. Let's go. Let's finish it up. We've got, for one more Mafex, let's get in the episode 3, Darth Vader, Revenge of the Sith. This is number 37 in the Mafex line. We've got Darth Vader on this side. Slide this over just a bit. Get him all the way into the shot. And let's get the Hiya Toys Godzilla from King of the Monsters. So we got King of the Monsters Godzilla. I have to back this up to get Godzilla in there. Yeah, there you go. So there is them. Obviously Godzilla quite a bit bigger than each of them. Got a good inch, maybe inch and a half over each of them. So yeah, big boy. So move those two out of the way. And who else? Last, we'll finish it off with the civilian Peter Parker from the Retro Card series from Hasbro, and the Venom Wave Carnage from Hasbro. And let's see. Yeah, this civilian Peter actually stacks up pretty well with this Spider Sense Spider-Man. Yeah, I think that actually works out pretty good. Same thing with Carnage. Carnage is just about the same height, maybe a little bit bigger than this Spider Sense Spidey. So not too bad. I think you can definitely make it work. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the review, guys. I'm gonna actually, real quick, I'm gonna pull him in just so we can get one last look at the mask. I like that this mask design is kind of different as far as the lens shape. I would say it's quite specific to this figure. I don't think I've ever really seen any other Spidey figures that look quite like this in the face. The eyes kind of remind me, give me an alien look. I don't know, it's almost like a bug-eyed alien type of look. Even the shape of the head. But yeah, I just wanted to pull it in a little bit closer so you guys could see more of the details in it. But yeah, again, the shape of the mask reminds me a lot of the TASM 1 suit. Especially, you'll see when I get the original release and we review that one, you'll see the kind of yellow eyes on that one and the darker colors. I think it's gonna remind you guys a lot of that TASM 1 suit as well. So yeah, until that review, but that's gonna do it for this one. So thank you guys so much for watching as always. Hope you're all doing well, staying safe, in good health, and taking care of business, man, doing your thing, and living out your dreams day by day. So again, I appreciate you all for rocking with your boy and taking time to watch these reviews, leaving your thoughts. I really do appreciate it, man. I try to read every single comment, and if I have time, I'll reply as well. So thank you so much for rocking with me. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I will see all y'all in the next one. It's been your boy Bio Spider 3.0. Peace.